What's up, people of the internet? Jacob here, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, also welcome. I love all things dual sport, adventure bikes, pretty much everything on two wheels. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please like and subscribe. So I recently flew from my home in Seattle, Washington, down to San Diego to pick up this new 2022 Aprilia Tuareg 660. I spent a couple hundred miles down in Southern California off-road, around Julian, California, Big Bear Lake, and Idlewood, and had an awesome time. Just quick reminder, if you are doing the fly to ride type of thing, remember you have to get that first service done. You're supposed to get it done at like 600 miles. Unfortunately, I was just having too much fun in the sunshine and out in those back canyon roads. So I had mine done at about 900 miles in San Francisco at, I want to say it's called Scuderia or something like that. But anyway, stay tuned for kind of my likes and dislikes on the bike so far at about 1,400 miles. More likes than dislikes, so that's a good thing. Stay tuned. All right, so let's start with the things that I love about this bike. So the first thing that I love about this bike is the performance. So the performance, this is encompassing everything. The engine, the suspension, the wheels, the brakes. I mean, I give it all, honestly, a 10 out of 10. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but almost all of the adventure bikes right now, especially in these middleweight categories, they're all coming stock with much too soft of a suspension. So the bike with the best suspension on the market right now is probably the KTM 890 Adventure R. That suspension, very stiff, and it's set up to go off-road, and it's set up to go hard off-road. So this bike is just a hair, it's just a hair under, I would say, the Adventure R. It's very stiff. I mean, going to pick this bike up, I was like, okay, it's going to be probably like a pogo stick off-road. Not the case at all. It's also an adjustable suspension as well. I'm about 180, 185 pounds without gear on, and as you can see behind me, this bike, it is fully loaded. So going a couple hundred miles off-road down in Southern California, as you can see, I'm up back in Washington now, but with fully loaded, I never once bottomed out. The suspension feels excellent, and right now I think it came standard. I haven't messed with the suspension at all, so it could be on soft for all I know, or comfort, but I mean, the suspension, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. The engine, so this is used in a couple, I want to say one other Aprilia bike, I think it's the Tuono or something like that, but it's reworked for this setup, the off-road setup, and it's one of the best sounding bikes, especially the intake sound. It just sounds so good. You'll have to check out another video. I just don't have the right kind of camera setup to go riding and for you to hear how excellent this bike sounds, but it sounds great. Now, the power band is excellent too, and it's so weird to say this, especially for such a light middleweight adventure bike, but this reminds me so much of my BMW GS's with the power, and especially the gearing and the torquiness. So it has those nice short, first, second, third gears for off-roading. It's not set up like a sport bike, so you're not going 40 miles an hour in first gear. Like, this is set up to be grunty. You can pop it in second, let go of the throttle, and boop, you're just kind of like tractoring along there. So I'm so happy that we're starting to get some bikes that are made like that, because so many of the adventure bikes right now, they are really just set up for street performance, to be honest. They're not really, the gears are way too high for anything really technical off-road. Now, this does have tubeless tires, which is a must-have. I mean, I don't even fuck with the tube tires anymore. I'm sorry, but the Tenere, I mean, come on, it's 2022. I know that's only like a $10,200 bike or whatever, but put tubeless tires in it. I mean, especially when you're off-roading. I have had so many flat tires due to big rocks slicing through my tires, and tubes, especially on these bigger bikes, the tires are pretty hard to get off. I mean, especially if you have the more rally style tires, Moto Tractionator Z's or whatever, they have really hard sidewalls, and without the proper tools and some lube to get the tire off, I mean, it's a pain in the ass to get the, the big bike tires off. So much easier to just have a little patch kit and plug the tires. So the tubeless tires on this, I'm like, mwah, amazing. Like, thank you, Aprilia, for doing that. And this feels, I mean, it's from a ground up. It's a whole new bike. It doesn't just feel like a street bike with some cladding that's called an adventure. I mean, the rake and trail on this bike, the wheelbase, the 9.5 inches of ground clearance and everything. I mean, it is amazing. I am super impressed, and it's so random that this came from Aprilia. I know the Tuareg, back in, what was it, I think the 80s or whenever that rally bike came out. But this is something that I would expect from, this is what I would expect the Honda Africa Twin, this is what the Honda Africa Twin should have been. But the Africa Twin, in my opinion, is just a road bike. I mean, it's really top heavy, and I can't really compare because that's an 1100cc. This is a 660, right? But I don't know. I think a lot of people try to kind of put them in the same category. So this bike wet is about 450 pounds, and it feels much lighter. I mean, that is already pretty light for a middleweight adventure bike, but all of the weight in this bike is way down low. So the seat is extremely narrow. The whole bike is pretty narrow itself. I'm about 6'4". And I mean, it's super, super comfortable, especially at my height. It has about a 34-inch seat height. I think you can lower the seats or raise them a little bit, but honestly, stock right now, it's all working perfectly for me. The windscreen here also, I mean, you could, if you're going to be sitting on freeways a lot, doing that type of riding, you could put a bigger windscreen on. But the windscreen that comes on the bike, I've found it to be perfect after about 2,000 miles. So I'm not the biggest electronics person or fan. I'm coming off some older GSs that are kind of bare bones when it comes to all the electronics, but the screen on this bike, I mean, I'll show you here. So easy to read any time of day. You can see, look at this. And it also comes with this little kind of sun visor thing here, but I mean, it didn't matter how bright it was out. You could see this at all times of day. So 10 out of 10 on the screen. I also love how easy this little, clicking that button right here, you can click between all of the drive modes on the fly. You don't have to dink around with a bunch of, settings or buttons or whatever. So show you these other buttons here, and everything on this bike, I mean, the fit and finish, just take a look at this. It's excellent. I mean, this is I would say up there with BMW or Honda. Fit and finish, the quality. So the lights are all LED on the bike. It does look, I mean, I got your nose, right? Where's the nose? It's missing its nose. So right when this bike came out, it wasn't kind of my top pick for good looking adventure bikes. It's starting to grow on me, but kind of beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So this red, white, and blue color scheme is the only one I would go with. I'm not really vibing with the other colors, but again, with the lights at nighttime, I did ride this for a bit. I'm not a big nighttime rider, but super, super bright headlights. Let's see if I can throw, yeah, without the bike running, but I'll start the bike up for you so you can hear. All right, let's see. Listen to that. I mean, what's not to love, right? So the skid plate here, let's start to get into some things that could be a bit better. So, I mean, at least it comes with a skid plate, right? But this is a really chintzy little skid plate. So, I mean, once some people start making aftermarket things for this bike, that's going to be one of the first things to replace, because look at this. The first kind of log crossing that you do, look at how flimsy that is, and look at right here what you have. Right behind your front wheel, you have your oil filter, which is really terrifying. So definitely going to purchase the most beefiest skid plate that I can get for this bike. Let's do a little walk around here. The muffler is big and honky, but I guess Euro 5, all of the bikes come with these giant ass mufflers now. One thing that I really hate is this gas cap sucks. So you guys, look at this. I can't tell you how many times that I went to get gas and just dropped this. So what could be much better is if they did kind of the BMW flip up style. Would love to see that on maybe an upcoming model, something like that. Another thing about the bike is it runs extremely hot. Doesn't matter if it's cold out or hot, you're gonna be roasting. All the heat comes from the right side of the bike. But hey, I mean, look at all the performance you're getting. So it can't just all be like rainbows and unicorns, right? There's got to be some little negatives, but really more positives than negatives. I did forget to mention this does have cruise control, comes with cruise control. Works excellent. I've always thought that was really weird to have cruise control on a bike, but now that I've used it for some long freeway stretches, I'm like, hell yeah, cruise control is pretty awesome. So I guess my last kind of final gripe with this bike, and it could be a major one for you, is the fact that this is a niche bike. Aprilia, we only have one Aprilia dealer in all of Washington. Luckily, it's not too far from me. But the United States has very few Aprilia dealers, most of them on the West Coast and in California. So if you're like in Middle America somewhere, good luck. I'm not sure if I lived somewhere where I had no access to a dealer, I probably would not go with this bike. I'll just be honest. Although the bike is amazing, but it's just, you have to have a dealer network, dealer support. If I was going to do a round the world trip, this would not be the bike for that reason. But for me, living on the West Coast, near all these major cities, I have a pretty good access to parts and accessories and things like that. Now, this bike did just come out, so it's a pain in the ass to get any accessories. Everything's at least 2 or 3 months back ordered. I think that's with a lot of new bikes and things right now. I mean, a lot of the new bikes you can't even get, like the Teneres and things like that. I mean, I had to fly to San Diego to pick up this thing, so if that means that, says anything. I mean, it is what it is with the whole dealer network thing. This will never be a Honda. It'll never be a Yamaha or Japanese bike. This is always going to be a niche motorcycle. So if you're looking at purchasing one of these things, just keep that in mind, that it's probably going to be pretty difficult to get parts for this thing. So all in all, love the bike. I give it like I guess I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because of the whole dealer network thing and it being nearly impossible to find accessories. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 just for that factor. It's just, I wish you could order more things online. You can't even order things from Aprilia. It has to be through a dealer. The dealers are so backlogged right now that they're not even taking more orders for accessories. They need to fulfill all of these accessory orders before they're doing more. I've called Aprilia dealers in a couple different states now, looking for the center stand and the pannier racks and things like that. So gotta give it a 9 out of 10. Can't give it a 10 out of 10 just for that reason alone. I mean, the performance on this bike, like I said, it's amazing. I love everything about the performance on this. The fit and finish, the quality is just mwah. I guess I'm a little bit of a snot for saying this, but I do love the dedicated BMW and the KTM dealers. It's almost, it's just like, once you work with dealers like that, it's just like a level up. It's not like the dealers that have a hodgepodge of like Vespas and all these random other things. That's kind of the Aprilia dealer network. They don't have, that fancy big BMW dealer or the KTM dealer. But like I said, this is a niche bike. So I don't know, stuff to think about. Really looking forward to doing a bunch of BDRs on this, checking out the Wyoming BDR this summer. Maybe Maine. I want to get over to the East Coast. Got to go check out some places on the East Coast, hang out with some friends and family back in Michigan. But until the next video, stay safe. Please like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.